Drink of the day is water. Goal is to get up at 6 o'clock. It's 7:37. I took a 4-day vacation. That's a minimum effective dose. Optimum vacation length is 9 days, and craziness is 2 weeks to a month. So I had just enough time to hug and touch everybody of the extended family and do a few things. Watched a couple movies. Went to this thrift store that's awesome in New Hampshire. They have old stereo systems there, books, CDs, movies. Son and I go in there every time we go there. Says we have good luck when I'm there. First time I went there, he was talking about a receiver that he wanted to apply to his movie conglomerate in the basement. It had something to do with laser discs. He was mentioning about the receiver, and we walk in, and there it was, $8. That trip, we listened to 5 different used receivers to see which was best for his system, and I was surprised. Every single one was different from the next one that we tried. So this trip, I got 5 CDs. We got Rob Thomas' solo album. My son liked it better than I did, so I gave it to him. Then surprisingly, they had Led Zeppelin CDs there. I don't know who would ever give up a Led Zeppelin CD. That's craziness right there. But there are lower level Led Zeppelin albums, 6 or 7 out of 10. And I found Billy Idol, Rebel Yell, that album, that's a 10 out of 10. And then I bought a Madonna album, I think she does some country on this one. I haven't heard it or listened to it yet. Gotta ease my way into that. Every trip to visit my son, we pick a Tom Cruise movie to watch. We watched the latest one, Mission Impossible one, 3-hour one. Of course, I couldn't take it, I had to fall asleep. We watched Tom Cruise movie because he thinks he's the GOAT. He said, "Dad, you can't name one bad movie that he made." I said, "I can name a few." So he's got his little weight room set up in the house, and we lifted a couple times. And I clarified that it was old, fat, and ugly. So I'm going to the gym. Getting back on the program every day. It's been going pretty good, but I have to work on my diet. Keto, carnivore, one or the other, depending on the day, depending on my willpower. The older you get, the less willpower you have. But change happens when the bitching begins. So I'm going to do a lot of bitching. Because I got up late. Missed the wife over the 4 days, the Oma. The most perfect woman on the planet. 14 grandkids and 4 great-grandkids will support that statement. So on Amazon, I got 4 fiction books and a poetry book that's probably 35 to 45 years old. That's when I wrote it. I'm working on the 5th book. It's a Corinthian series. I got about 40 pages left. I've been letting it sit for about 8 months to a year. And then I got to get moving on the 6th book. There's 6 books to the series. I'm not saying I'm a writer, but I'm trying to be. I started doing that because that was the hardest thing I could think of to do. If you look at my past videos, you know that I was retarded in English. Sorry about that word, the R word. But I was. And I sort of still am, because I can't really tell when I write a paragraph if it's good or not. The punctuation, that's the worst, always gets to me. But in 2012, I had the first story in my head. I go visit my son, and I tell him the story, and he would laugh. He says, "You gotta write it." And I'm thinking, I'll never write it. Then the first anniversary after my father's death, November 2018, I started writing. The story changed. These crazy ideas I had in my head weren't realistic when you were writing a novel, so I had to change a little bit. But overall, it's the original story that I had in my head. I'll try to think about that, how that story gets stuck in my head. Somebody stuck it there, and they knew what the future held. Or if you think about the people you've got involved with over the years, somebody's manipulating the path, that's for sure. And you're certainly laughing along the way, depending on how you handle it. Saying that dumb SOB, he did it again. He's not picking what I put there. He's a scared little crybaby. Getting all emotional. Alright, at least I could see. It's not dark out. Difference of that is night and day. Weight of the day is 194, so I gained some poundage. Gotta get that off of me and learn how to melt it off. Best way of doing that is sweating. 'Cause fat turns into water. Didn't know if you knew that or not. So I got the hoodie and I'm gonna sweat it out. In today's life, you gotta get out there. I mean, we got Democrat and Republican, but, I mean, we're getting all the information off the internet. How are you gonna know? You know, it's like a text. You know the context of it, or, you know, how sure of themselves they are. You have to get out there and face-to-face it. So I'm out here, talking to different people, getting, you know, why they act the way they do, and why it's different than the past. All I know is after COVID, it's getting harder and harder to find a qualified person in certain jobs. The place that I go to for my car inspection, car work, it's worthless now. You get an appointment, you go in, somebody calls in sick, and then they can't get you in. Before, it wasn't like that. You'd go, you'd be situated. I call now for a car inspection, they don't have a state certified person on staff. They got a new person coming in 2 weeks. Come on, when did that ever happen? Ever? There must be too many rules going on here. We gotta lighten things up. When I called the Chevy dealer, all I can do is walk in. I can't make an appointment. They're all booked up past December. No wonder there's all sorts of excuses flying around. Can't get the job done. So anyway, went up to the Suns. We exchanged gifts. I got him Led Zeppelin 2. One of the greatest albums of all time. We sat and played that, and Led Zeppelin 4, he wanted to prove that it was better. Sort of up in the air right now. I think both of us are going to be open-minded and listen to both albums and narrow it down. That was fun talking about that. So goal of the week is losing weight. I'm going to do a video measuring everything up and comparing it to the average measurements of a human being. Which who knows if that's accurate now. I mean, what human being are we talking about? 20 years ago human being or current human beings? The only way we're going to get anywhere is get out there and get in the mix. Get in an individual and group setting, talk it out. Why people act the way they do and why old people like me act the way I act. Back in the day, if Tim and I were going to the gym, if they had treadmills back then, which they didn't, if they did, we would have been walking 2 treadmills apart from each other. Nowadays, 2 men are walking side by side on treadmills. I'm not going to go there. It's just different generations and different outlooks. That's all it is.